Welcome back. Now, this is the fourth part of surgical instruments, so instruments used in surgery. And in this part, we are going to discuss the retractors, various retractors, right? The same classification. I'm just repeating this slide again and again. Just repeating it just to help you out, the classification part. So these are retractors. Various retractors, we can classify the various retractors in two ways. The first one is this self-retaining. The first type means first classification self-retaining or non-self-retaining, where once applied we don't need to again just apply the force to retain the this traction or retraction. This is self-retaining. Non-self-retaining means we will have to continuously apply the force according to our need. This is non-self-retaining. Two varieties. Then another classification could be for retractors like blades on one side and presence of blades on both the sides, right? So in these two manner we can classify the various retractors. This first classification type I will be discussing here, and this is your self-directed learning. I'm posting the images here. You can yourself judge which one is having blades on one side and which one is having blades on both the sides. Accordingly, you can classify the various retractors, right? So self-retaining retractors. What are the advantages of self-retaining retractors versus hand? Whenever we are using hand for our retraction, how it is useful for us to use self-retaining retractors instead of hand. So advantages could be it avoids the need of an assistant, right? Assistant is not required in cases of self-retaining retractors for retraction purpose. It is going to reduce the surgical fatigue also, obviously, in longer duration surgeries. It's very important. The role is very important, self-retaining retractors. And it provides a better field of view as compared to hand. These are the important advantages of self-retaining retractors. The examples of self-retaining retractors, the commonly used, Joll's thyroid retractor, Balfour self-retaining retractors, the Goldstein self-retaining retractor, Agricola, and Barraquer, and Davis, McKinney, Finocchio, and cheek retractor. All these are examples of self-retaining retractors, where once applied, we don't require the continuous force to retract the tissues. Only once it is required for adjustment, right? So self-retaining retractors, these were the examples, the name of the self-retaining retractors. Just to have an idea and few important points, this is how a Joll's thyroid retractor looks like. There is a screw adjustable retractor. This one, this Joll's thyroid retractor. Here you can see this screw. Right. Screw adjustable retractor is this one with two spring action clips on its end. Here you can see spring action clips. If you can divide this instrument and just look at like this one, the first spring action at the tip and here the second one, right? And here is the screw adjustable. With the help of this, by rotating this, you can adjust the distance between the tissue margins, right? And the width is adjusted by a central roll, this one, over screw mechanism. A spring action clips, there's a release button at the lateral region. Here is the release button, this one is the release button, this one. If we are going to press it like this, it will get dislodged. And where it is used, Joll's thyroid retractor? In thyroid surgeries, the various neck surgeries, the other type of retractors that can be used in place of this Joll's thyroid retractor could be if Witt-Lanner and green goiter retractors. So just see, this is the picture of Joll's thyroid retractor. You have already seen in this, in probably the second video, that in quick identification of Joll's thyroid retractor. And these were the important points regarding this. How to identify. Then Balfour retractors, the self-retaining retractors, used in cases of laparotomies, the various pelvic surgeries. Here you can see the blades over a pair of channels. This is channel and this one is blade, right? This one is blade, this one with a lock here. Here is the lock, of which one is fixed and other one can be slided over the channel, retain its position. Here this one, here you can see this one is fixed, and this retractor, this prong, this can be slided over this channel depending on the distance between the two margins, right? This portion goes inside and covering the one margin, and this is the another margin, and this one is the blade to retract the urinary bladder or the lower abdominal organs, right? So this is used for used in cases of laparotomies. Balfour self-retaining retractors. Here you can see this is the body part, the same Balfour self-retaining body part, and this was the blade, Balfour self-retaining retractor blade, and this blade is also there during the examination of instruments, the instrument examination part. Balfour self-retaining. Don't get it confused with some sort of independent retractor. It is a type of blade that is used in Balfour self-retaining retractors, this blade, and this is the body, like this. This is the body, this is the self-retaining retractor blade. This is how Goldstein self-retaining retractor is, we can appreciate here. Usually used in case of oculoplastic procedures and for exposure of lacrimal sac during infection or obstruction, dacrocystitis, right? So Goldstein retractor, basically for ophthalmic surgeries. This is Agricola, again lacrimal sac retractor, commonly known as, depending on the use. Then Witt-Lanner mastoid retractor, in cases of this ENT, the surgeries over the mastoid area, and from neurosurgery branch or specialty of surgery over scalp, this Witt-Lanner mastoid retractor can be used, self-retaining obviously. Here you can see the mechanism for self-retraction, and these are retracting prongs. This is Witt-Lanner in orthopedic surgery. We are going to use this one. This is Barraquer to retract the eyelid during ophthalmic surgeries. These two things, these are going to retract the eyelids, both the sides, or a single side, basically the upper and lower eyelid, right? And single side. Both the sides we can also apply two different Barraquer whenever required to retract the eyelid during ophthalmic surgery. Then Davis retractor, usually used in cases of neurosurgery as a scalp retractor. Then ENT surgery it can be used, orthopedic surgery can be used, various plastic surgery procedures. With the help of this knob, we can adjust the distance between these two prongs. and these two will go like this, and then the tissue play in between these things will be visible, right? This is Boyle-Davis mouth gag retractor, very commonly used in cases of oral cavity surgery and tonsillectomy. Boyle-Davis mouth gag. This area is the operating field we are going to have. It is also used in cases of cleft surgery, cleft palate surgery, right? Not cleft lip, cleft palate basically. And McKinney retractor. Again, all these are self-retaining retractors. Lid speculum also used as lid speculum, and again ophthalmic surgery, McKinney. Then Finocchio chest wall retractor. There are two blades. Here you can see one blade and two blades. Very stout. And there is a rack with pinion arrangement. This is pinion arrangement and this is rack, over which these two blades are sliding. Being a strong mechanical device, it prevents damage. Being a strong mechanical device, it is usually used to retract the thoracic wall. During thoracotomy, it is usually used, and as this instrument is very strong, we should prevent damage to delicate viscera that is present inside the thoracic cavity while using this type of self-retaining retractor. And this retractor is commonly used to separate ribs or sometimes during a sternotomy to separate the two halves of sternum. Can be used whenever we are applying a trapdoor incision or clamshell incision. These type of retractors are frequently used. Finocchio chest wall retractor. Then cheek self-retaining retractors, you can see these two things. These are going to be placed very comfortably in the vestibule, between the vestibule area and the lip area, and accordingly these cheek retractors, they can be used for surgeries on cheek, oral cavity, tongue or maxilla. Cheek retractors, right? So these were examples of self-retaining. Now we are going to discuss the non-self-retaining retractors. Non-self-retaining means you will have to hold it throughout the procedure and you will have to adjust the force according to the need of retraction, right? Operating field. So these are non-self-retaining retractors, NSRR. They are usually lighter as compared to self-retaining. They are more ergonomic in design. These are the advantages. They have fenestrations. Why there are fenestrations? Very important question. Common question asked during your surgical instrument viva. Why they are having fenestration? Obviously to make it lightweight, and they have grips. And why there are grips? To make it easy to hold. More secure hold is required. And that's why. Why? Because you are supposed to apply the force. So they are having grips. So fenestrations, the grips, more ergonomic, and they are usually lighter as compared to self-retaining, right? So non-self-retaining examples, the journeys. Please pay attention on the spelling usually asked in your exams. The examiner may ask you to just write down the names of these retractors. So Journeys retractor, first example, CZERNY, then Langenbeck's retractor, then Drake or Catspaw retractor, then Doyens, then Devers, then Morris, and cheek retractors. Cheek retractors are self-retaining as well as non-self-retaining. Both types are available. So this is the Journeys retractor, very commonly used. This is a non-self-retaining with a bi-flanked hook at one end. These are two hooks are there at one end, bi-flanked hook, both at right angles, and the blade at other ends. At other end, the blade is there. Either this side, this one, this is having a bi-flank hook-like structure, and other end we are having a blade. And you can see the angle between this is the right angle. Again, this is a right angle. Okay, this is how you can identify the Journeys retractor. Fenestrated. This is fenestrated in the center to make it light. Biflanked hook, what is the use of this biflanked hook? Very important question usually asked in your Viva. Why it is biflanked? This biflanked hook is used to retract the tail end of the wound, and sutures can be passed or placed between the two hooks. You can place the sutures in the tissues while retracting the same at the same time. And these type of retractors, Journey's retractor, they are used for superficial retraction during laparotomy. It can be used during appendicectomy, open appendicectomy. It can be used during open cholecystectomy, right? To retract the upper flank. And it resembles this Journey's the retractor. It resembles the English alphabet Z. English alphabet Z. Z resemblance is there for Journeys. In the spelling, you can see the Z is coming here. Journeys, right? And it is how it looks like. You can see Journey's retractor. Fenestrations are here in the shadow, and then biflanked hook, and both are at right angle, right? Journey's retractor. Then next is Langenbeck's retractor. You can see Langenbeck's, and this is commonly used in minor and superficial surgery. It has a blade at right angle. You can see this angle is 90 degree, right? 90 degree. And it is used to retract the soft tissue during hernia repair, any herniaplasty, appendectomy or appendicectomy, and then thyroidectomy. This Langenbeck can be used. It has a handle and it has a gap here also. You can see here it is a gap, and here is again fenestrated. These are again to make it lightweight. Important thing is it resembles the English alphabet L. Important thing is we are having L in front of this Langenbeck, right? It's L shape. Can you see here? L shape. Langenbeck's. Another modification variant of this Langenbeck's retractor is Richardson retractor. Richardson retractor. And what is different from this Langenbeck's? It is having similar blades at both ends. Similar blades at both ends, right? This will become Richardson retractor. Suppose again I'm just going to make it like this, and this is having a blade similar to this one. This will become Richardson retractor, a variant of this Langenbeck's. Okay, and Journeys, it was biflanked. The two hooks were there, biflanked, right? This is how a Langenbeck is in retractor, single and fenestrated handle to make it lightweight. Langenbeck's retractor. Then next is Rake or Volkmann's cat's paw. Cat's paw retractor, Volkmann's retractor, or Rake retractor. Similar thing. Looks like this one. Again, a fenestration is there to make it lightweight. Again, it is used for superficial surgeries of skin and subcutaneous tissue to retract the soft tissue during venesection. Whenever you are doing this venesection, then whenever we are attempting some excision biopsy of smaller subcutaneous swellings, cat's paw retractor may be used. It has multiple small hooks at its end. This one, and these hooks are used to retract the superficial flap, right? If it is having multiple hooks, known as cat's paw or Volkmann's or Rake non-self-retaining retractor. If it is having a single hook, it will become Vicky's retractor, right? And whenever a Rake retractor with having a Langenbeck blade at other end, this will become Sen retractor. Sen retractor. Suppose this is a Rake retractor and we are going to put a blade here like Langenbeck, right? And at one end various hooks are there like in cat's paw Rake retractor, At other end, Langenbeck blade is there. This will become Sen retractor. Sen retractor. If single hook is there, Vicky's retractor. Otherwise, Ray, Catspaw or Volkmann's, same thing. It looks like this one. Then Doyne's retractor. Doyne's retractor, basically it's a broad-based retractor, you can see. Don't get confused with that Balfour blade with this Doyne's retractor. Balfour self-retaining abdominal retractor. You can always go back to that. And that blade you can get confused with the Doyne's. Doyne's retractor is somewhat like this. It is the length is around 28 centimeter, and where it is used to retract soft tissues in laparotomies, the abdominal hysterectomies, the cesarean section, and retraction of urinary bladder. This Doyne's retractor is used. Again, the common thing that fenestrations, you know the reason why there are fenestrations. I'm again repeating and repeating every time whenever we are discussing various types of retractors. So make it light. Then Dever's retractor. It's a single bladed curved retractor. You can see. And to retract, this Dever's retractor is used to retract deep abdominal surgeries, chest incisions, the liver during cholecystectomy, and various sizes are available and widely used in upper abdominal surgeries. And it is advisable to use a wet mop as an interface during retraction of solid organ like liver or spleen whenever we are using Dever's retractor. This portion goes inside the abdomen, right, or thorax, and here you're going to hold this retractor from this place. This is how a somewhat broader Dever's retractor, this is how it looks like, right? This portion goes inside, and this here you are holding this retractor, Dever's retractor, non-self-retaining. Then Morris retractor. To retract edges during abdominal operation used in laparotomies, pelvic surgeries, gynecological surgeries, this Morris retractor can be used, usually commonly used to retract the urinary bladder also. Again, to make it light, the fenestration is there. This is a variety, a single variant where one-sided blade is there. Okay. Then cheek retractors, self-retracting and non-self-retracting, both are available. These are non-self-retracting. You will have to hold them from here or from here, this place, and this will goes inside the oral cavity in the vestibule area. So surgeries on cheek, oral cavity, tongue and maxilla. These cheek retractors can be used. Fit in vestibular area between the lips and gums. Self-retaining mechanism, spring type, usually keeps oral cavity wide open in cases of self-retaining retractors, whereas in non-self-retaining like this one, the lateral traction by assistant is always required. Okay, cheek retractors. So that's all in this video. Retractors, we have discussed two varieties, self-retaining and non-self-retaining. Blade at one end and blade at both ends, you will classify them, you will identify them yourself. One type of classification I have discussed. Okay, so that's all for this video. See you in the next part. Thank you.